Black Americans paid for the right to vote with blood and bruises.
We are going to walk non-violently and peacefully. Let the nation and the world know we are tired now.
What started out as a peaceful protest from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama in March of 1965 ended in horrific violence. Months later, the Voting Rights Act was passed. Black Americans are now guaranteed the right to vote. But if you follow that same trail today from Selma to Montgomery on Highway 80, you'll find an area of extreme rural poverty where families who live in the epicenter of the civil rights movement are still being denied access to basic human rights. There are parts of Lowndes County, Alabama, so impoverished and neglected that people don't have access to sanitation. Pamela Rush is one of those people. Behind her mobile home is a pool of human excrement. That's because she has a straight pipe going directly from her toilet into the backyard. Why can't you flush the toilet paper down?
Because it'll get stopped up. The land stuff gets stopped up.
Because you have no septic?
I have no septic system. Mm-hmm.
What's that feel like?
If make me feel bad. Because I don't want all my stuff just coming out here and running on the ground.
Many homes in Lowndes County are too scattered for a central wastewater facility. An estimated 80% of residents have to pay out of pocket to get rid of their own waste. And with nearly a third of the community living below the poverty line, people like Pamela have resorted to straight piping into fields, yards, and ditches.
Yes, I call this America's dirty secret. I think that this is a problem that has gone on for years.
Catherine Coleman Flowers grew up in Lowndes County and has spent the last 16 years trying to find a solution to the sanitation crisis.
A lot of what is happening in Lowndes County is environmental racism.
When we first moved to Lowndes County in the 1960s, we had to provide our own water. People had their own wells. And then when the USDA started providing water to families in rural communities, they left out the sanitation part.
So as a result, a lot of these areas intentionally were, I think, victims of benign neglect. You know, the lack of investment in those communities to put the infrastructure in place to keep the population poor. And a lot of these populations are largely people of color.
Lowndes County sits in the middle of a region in Alabama known as the Black Belt. That's because the majority of the population is made up of Black Americans. But it also earned the nickname because of its rich, dense clay soil.
Our soils were the reason that people came here in the first place, you know, and settled this area. They came here because they had worn out the soils in the Carolinas, and the founders of Alabama decided that they wanted to expand and put their plantations and bring their slaves here. And the people that are in Lowndes County, a lot of us, including myself, are descendants of those slaves that were brought to this area to work the ground, because the ground is good for planting, but it's not good for on-site wastewater treatment.
Here's the reason. Most on-site septic systems rely primarily on the soil itself to treat wastewater. The effluent flows out of drain holes where soil particles and microbes filter out bacteria. But in hard clay soil, water can't really move. And that means wastewater can't be filtered properly. So while an ordinary septic tank might cost between $5,000 and $10,000, the ones often needed to handle the soil in Lowndes County can cost anywhere from $6,000 to $30,000. The annual per capita income here is $18,000.
Yes, Lowndes County, and I agree, is the poorest county in the United States. You're talking about poverty. That's not for the health department to fix.
Sherry Bradley is the director of environmental services at the Alabama Health Department. Between 1996 and 2001, 24 people were issued arrest warrants in Lowndes County for septic system violations brought forward by her department. In recent years, the department has stopped taking people in this county to court, but it continues to cite homeowners, which could lead to a misdemeanor and fine. Sherry says the department's role in all of this is only regulatory.
We still write notice of violation. I don't know why people call it criminalizing, When you get a ticket for speeding, is that criminalizing? It's saying that you broken the law. That's not a strategy. That's what we do. We regulate the permitting, the installation, and the use of septic tank systems. We don't criminalize anybody.
In 2015, the UN said access to sanitation is a human right. That requires not only access to a toilet, but also the safe collection, management, and disposal of feces and wastewater.
If the person refuses to put in a system, it goes to court. The judge decides what to do. Period. It's out of our hands.
I have no way of taking this problem myself.
Lowndes County is just one piece of a larger picture that shows a pattern of neglect and marginalization of low-income rural communities across America. Nearly 500,000 households in the U.S. lack access to proper sanitation. Catherine believes the legacy of slavery, racism, and segregation cannot be separated from the current situation.
The institutions were set up based on racism. In some cases, I think that institutional racism is still in place, and that's one of the reasons why we have these problems.
The history of this area is entrenched in white supremacy and plantation power. The Equal Justice Initiative documented 14 lynchings in Lowndes County. A memorial was just raised a 20-minute drive away in Montgomery to honor the thousands killed in lynchings across the U.S. In the 1950s, it earned the nickname Bloody Lowndes because of the violence and terror inflicted on Black people by white residents who wanted to maintain segregation.
Against the backdrop of all of that, Lowndes County has, although it has changed and there are Black elected officials in place now, you see where the sanitation in the cities where there is sanitation or a large municipal system, it generally stops at where the Black community starts, or people have problems in the areas of town where Black people have traditionally lived.
These inequalities, spatial, racial, income, and property, intersect with something even more alarming: the resurgence of parasitic disease linked to poor sanitation. Catherine and a team of researchers from the Baylor College of Medicine conducted a study that found 2 in 5 participants had intestinal parasites, primarily hookworm, something most experts assumed had disappeared in the U.S. The Alabama State Health Department refuses to acknowledge the validity of the test results.
We are yet to find a person's name, a person that's receiving help. We are yet to find anything like that. And we've looked. There is no evidence of hookworms in Alabama.
The unfortunate part is that the government should be partnering with us on finding real solutions instead of trying to pretend like this problem does not exist.
The house ain't fit to live in because animals and stuff come in my house, paws and stuff. And I got holes everywhere in the house and mold and stuff. My washer got torn up and it's leaking water right now. So I have to squeeze clothes out and hang them up in the house before they can have something to wear to school.
We're going to continue doing what we're doing, and that is to enforce the law and be fair about it. And that's all we can do.
When I talked about these institutions that are in place, these structures that are in place, that undergirds and supports poverty. And until we change that, it doesn't matter who the face of it is or who's in charge. It could be somebody that looks like me. It doesn't matter. Until these structural things change, we're going to continue to create what we've created.
And then I can do, I can pray. Because I don't have nothing.